3, 2, 1.
Good day everyone, Garage King here, and today we're going to replace the receiver Drier on a Ford Escape. I threw up a picture. That's what it looks like when it comes out of the vehicle. Now, I'm working on a 2010 Ford Escape, but I should let you know from 2008 to 2012, there was a problem with the receiver Driers in Ford Escapes. Now, I don't know if this one was ever done. However, if we look at the gauges, our vehicle's not cooling. Our low side is quite low, which could mean, low refrigerant. However, our high side is really high. It is pushing 300 PSI. So I threw up the chart here, and as you can see, it is about 27 Celsius. It's a pretty warm day, so that's 80 Fahrenheit. Our low pressure side should be between 40 and 50, and our high pressure side shouldn't be much over 210. Also, this vehicle doesn't even have 134A in it. It has a replacement that runs at a lower pressure, so there is no reason why it should be running close to 300. So to be safe, we're just going to replace the receiver Drier, knowing that there is a problem with them. Anyway, I was able to find one on Amazon. Here is the part number. It is YF37237. All right, so first we have 3 little clips. We don't even have to raise the vehicle to get these out. Now that is provided that you do have a tool that'll work on a right angle. This one will. I'll throw the link in the description for you. Now we got our license plate here, and if we look underneath here, we can see we have 2 clips. So there's one right there, so we're gonna pull that out. And then if we pan over the other side, we should see our other clip right there. It looks like we're going to be replacing this one because it's broken anyway. You can see, actually there it is, it's broken. So we'll just put a new clip in when we're done. All right, so both the bottom clips are undone. So we're going to pan to the top, and we have 10 mil right there and another 10 mil on the other side. All right, and now you can see that I have both of those bolts off. You can see the whole front end is actually quite loose. So that's good, and this piece here is already loose because I undid the clips. So now we should just be able to pull the bumper forward and it should snap off. There we go. Now, if you saw those pins flying out, that means the bumper's coming off for the first time. And you'll see later, we do not need those pins for reassembly. The bumper will go back together just fine. And now you can see with the bumpers loose, we can get in right there. Okay, so next is this connector. In order to get the connector out, all you do is at the bottom, you can almost just pull the tang out and then it should just pop right up. There we go. And there we go, unplugged. Accumulator there, and there is a 13 millimeter nut, so we're gonna take that off with our 3/8 drive ratchet. So now we can just slip in here, 13 mil on a swivel, and just make sure that you undo the bottom one. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. There we go, and I am on it. So we're just gonna undo it, just like this. Now that I'm on it, I can just use some power. There we go, just like so. Now we can just take the nut off here. There we go, just like that. Now this just comes loose off the condenser. There we go. And you can see I just pulled it off. Now that we're back up top, this line's all loose. Actually, we can disconnect our quick fitting. We've already evacuated the system. We're just gonna pull this off. You saw earlier, I already took the nut off. There we go, that part's out. And now we're just gonna do the 2 quick 10 mil bolts. Down at the bottom, I have a nice long extension. There you can see there's one bolt. So now this whole thing, there we go. It's all loose. We should be able to just wiggle it out. And we're just gonna pop this off the bottom here. There we go. I should just be able to take this out. Make sure no wires, there we go. Wire, there we go. Let's get it out. There we go, guys. Now, it's always a good practice to replace any oil that may come out of any AC part you're replacing. All right, so I got the new part, just like there. You can see still sealed. You want to leave it sealed until you get it right in place. All right, you can see it is in. There you go, that still has to be clipped in, and obviously I still have to put on the 2 nuts. Just on top there, you can see there's the threaded parts. They are lined up. Now you don't want to put the O-rings in dry ever, and I'm just going to lubricate the O-ring. We made sure we got a little bit of lube on the O-ring there, a little bit of compressor oil. All we do is line it up. We're going to slide it down, there we go. Wiggle it on. We're going to put the nut back on. Make sure this is seated squarely and flush right at the bottom. Probably should be wearing my orange gloves because I get my hands a little bit dirty, but it's not super oily, it's just a little bit dirty, but anyway. Now you're gonna take your connector, you're gonna connect it back. Okay, so lastly, if you've been paying attention, there's that little piece there. So now that everything's in, we're just gonna push this pipe back in. There we go, just like so. All right, so here's a quick pan around so you can see that's all in. We got our 2 bolts at the bottom right there. Zoom in on those. There we go, those are all done. Everything's popped into where it should be. The new one actually came with, I like that the Ford one comes with a sensor. This piece here has its seals. And if we look down in there, we can see, there we go, all installed. So now we're just gonna put it back together and charge it up. And you can see I have it set for 30 minutes. So we're gonna vacuum it for 30 minutes. Just gonna pan up here and you can see actually the gauges are already starting to go into vacuum mode. Now I should take a second to say if you do have refrigerant in your system prior to doing this job, you should really take it to a shop to get it properly evacuated and reclaimed. This way you're not damaging the environment. And now you can see with the bumper, what I'm doing is I'm just lining up all the tangs because if you don't, it won't fit right. Once you line up, you can see everything will just pop together nice and easy. And then it's just a matter of putting the rest of the clips in. And once you got the side in, then don't forget the 2 10mm bolts on the top. There we go. So now you can see the 30 minutes is done and actually the machine switched to hold time, which is fine. All hold time is gonna do is it's just gonna make sure nothing's leaking, but we don't have to worry because we just changed this and that wasn't the goal of today. Was it wasn't finding leaks, it was replacing this part. So we know it's fine, and if there was a leak, we would be going back to 0, but as you can see, there's a vacuum. They're still holding quite nicely. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna close the valves and let's fill it up. Now, as mentioned earlier, if you're uncomfortable or you don't have a license or the proper tools, you should take it to a shop to have them reclaim your refrigerant. You can do the repair, they can test it, and then they can fill it up. Now, if afterwards you wanna fill it up, say for example, using an AC replacement, that's what I use. It's important to properly evacuate it to get all the moisture out of the system. I can leave a link below for a cheap Amazon pump. Now let's go under the hood.
Did I win?
Well, let's see if we did win. And let's take a look at that compressor. And there we go. We can see it has kicked on.
Check this out.
So we can see it is cooling. And if you're wondering, this was filmed about a year ago. So yes, it is still working. What tools did I need to change this part in the Ford Escape? Well, I needed a trim tool, a ratchet. I used 13 on the swivel with an extension, 10mm with some extensions and a quarter drive. And you know, I think this was for another job. I don't even know why I have this here. So you really don't need a lot of tools to replace the receiver Drier on a Ford Escape. But what you do need is a license and a fairly expensive tool to reclaim the refrigerant if there's still refrigerant in your system. So that part should be left to a shop. And then afterwards you can put environmentally safe stuff in all by yourself. That's what I use in all my videos. So if you have any questions, just let me know.